Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well, staying cool, enjoying the summer wind down. Good evening, good morning, whenever you're watching this. If you don't know me, my name is Imari Ventura Roches, and I'm a speech language pathologist. I'm also an educational administrator and a special needs parent coach. Check out my bio, check out my link tree. All that stuff is there. So, if you're new to the community, special needs super moms, then you already know once a month I publish content around a specific theme. Um, all months of the year, school months of the year, 10 months of the year, it's very thematic. I have to say for August, it's just been a little bit of everything. So my theme isn't that focus this month. However, it's still good content. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're checking in, and it is a pleasure to speak with you, to be with you, to hang out with you. Okay, so check this out. Many different districts across the country, if you're here in the United States watching, have gone back to school. Some are gearing up, right? I'm from New York City. Those kids have till after Labor Day to go back. Connecticut, where I live, go back next week. Every town, every district's a little bit different, but we are all in the back to school mode. Everybody is getting back to the grind. Traffic is about to get heavy. Teachers are rolling up, right, for professional development. Administrators have been in the office all month, all summer long. People are trying to squeeze in a little bit more vacation, Labor Day weekend, and all that good stuff. And one way about it or not, one thing that's never going away is that kids are reading. There were some big summer reading initiatives going on all over the place. My kids and we found this beautiful library this summer that had all of these activities Wednesday nights. We went to a couple. I made friends with the branch manager. Um, and it's just been like fabulous. Everything around literacy and reading and all of our local public libraries. I support them. I love them. We need them. So, tonight's Facebook Live is about empowering potential, right? Strategies for helping and promoting reading for your reader. All right. I broke this down into three parts. Okay. So I have three strategies for three different grade groups, not necessarily age groups, but grade groups. Okay, so the age group, the grade groups that I distinguish are K through two, kindergarten through two. And you know what? I'm gonna say you can even pull it back a little more. You can say pre-K, because I have a pre-K or I have a preschooler who's going into 4K. And these are some things I do with him. So I would say pre-K to second grade. I'm calling K to 2 is early elementary. That's one grade group. The next grade group is upper elementary. That's 3 to 5. So I have a rising third grader. I'm so excited. And these are some of the strategies I use with her. And then we have middle schoolers, right? And the strategies you could use with them. I love high schoolers. I love adolescents and big kids. Some of my first experience as a speech pathologist in schools was BAM in a high school, and it was amazing. However, it's very different. Um, the norms are different, the brain is different. And so I'm not really going to talk about strategies for high schoolers. If you want content on that, if you'd like me to do a live on literacy with high schoolers or young adults, let me know. Put it in the chat. Reach out to me. Let me know you need that. You want to learn about it. You're interested. And we'll do a deep dive. Okay. So let's get started. How can you empower your reader, right? Your early elementary reader, your upper elementary reader, or your middle school reader. What can you do at home to empower potential? And so I'm going to give you a goal and then three strategies you can use for each grade group. Okay, everybody? So for elementary, which I said is K through 2 officially, but I'm going to include preschoolers in that. The goal really is to build foundational literacy skills through play, repetition, and multi-sensory engagement. Okay. When I say multi-sensory, I'm talking about your five senses. So we have five senses, right? Feel, look, taste, sound, and smell. And so, believe it or not, children and even us, we use those five senses to perceive the world and to receive information and filter it, process it, and then move forward in whatever the next thing is. Actually, children who have sensory integration issues, and I've spoken about this in other lives, they have a hard time perceiving, filtering information through one of those modes, right? So for those little kids, they're really growing into their sensory systems, right? You may see them fidget a lot. You may see certain things in the environment bother them or make them hyperactive or hypoactive. And so really literacy activities that tap into the five senses are key, right? I'll even tell you, during COVID, when I was doing a lot of teletherapy, it was hard for my little ones. It was hard for my the preschoolers. It was hard for my kindergarten and first graders, even my second graders, because learning is so multisensory. And so when you limit that just to audio visual through like a Zoom or something, it's very difficult. So to promote, to empower potential for in reading for early elementary, you want to use phonics play, right? And so you may see YouTube ads, you may see some commercials that are marketing phonics, hooked on phonics. There's a new one that uses the iPad because it's really important, right? That they engage in letter sound games, magnetic letters, rhyming songs to strengthen their decoding skills, right? So because I've engaged in this space for a very long time, I own a lot of those things. But you don't have to spend a lot of money, right? And you can draw you can write the letter and have your child tell you the sound. It's really fun when they can like move tiles around, when you can give them two, right, tiles and say a sound, right, and then have them point to it. It all just makes it very interesting. Another thing you want to do after phonics play is a picture walk before reading. And so what does that mean? That means you get a book, right? Whether you own it or you're borrowing from your public library, and you flip the pages and really intentionally look at the pictures, describe them, talk about them, really get keen on the details and preview all of these illustrations before you actually read the book. And by doing that, you're activating their prior knowledge and helping them to get context, right? Before you actually talk about the plot, the story, the theme, the characters. They really have an understanding of what this looks like. And you can spark curiosity in that also. Okay, great. Number 3, for early elementary students, how can you empower potential in reading? Read aloud routines. You guys, I mean, it's the oldest suggestions in book. We got to read to our kids. It can be hard, especially in the midst of busy schedules. But read daily, right? It could be 5 minutes with expression, pointing to words as you go. Pause to ask simple questions, right? I would say, you know, for really little ones, pre-K, K, you can ask who and what doing questions. Then, you know, you can add in where, when, the very last are why, and what do you think? What do you think will happen next? Inference and prediction questions. And so all of these things are really important. So my recommendations for early elementary students, K through 2, empowering potential for reading are phonics play, picture walks, and read aloud routines, right? Make it a routine. Make it before bed or before bath time or after dinner or when they come home from school. I know my daughter, like in first grade, was when she came home from school. We would just do it. We would just do it and it would be great. And so now she's really in the habit. She knows she's got to get it done. Okay. And another thing about making it a routine, sometimes in these grades, first grade, second grade, your kids may come home with reading logs, right? Teachers asking them to read 55 or 60 minutes a week. They have to log it. So the better you're able to build in a time for them to do it, the easier it is for them to complete those logs. Okay. Let's talk about upper elementary, okay? There is a diversion from learning how to read. There's really not that much emphasis in grades 3 to 5 on phonics, on sounding out words, on speech sounds. It's really those things should have, from the educational standpoint, should have been mastered. There definitely are phonemic awareness systems that still will accommodate those grade groups, but a lot of the phonemic awareness, learn how to read, hooked on phonics, reading programs, reading apps, all that stuff really is targeted for K through 2. The window, if you want to think about a window, like the window behind me, the window for literacy acquisition is 5 to 7. We could say 4.5-ish to 7. And as per research, I'm seeing with my own son, he knows letters, he knows sounds. I'm trying to tap him out and have him blend it. And he's not quite ready. So it really is a window. It's a period of time in which they're ripe, they're ready, and they are available. The brain is available to learn how to read, okay? Upper elementary, not so much. The window is closed, if not closing. And so the shift is from learning to read to then reading to learn, right? Reading to learn. And that's when we see the introduction of there's still quite a bit, lots of fiction, right, in there. But we will be introduced to chapter books, which in my house is like a very grown and mature thing, a chapter book, and a bit of nonfiction, right? And so the goal during these years, 3rd grade to 5th grade, is to expand vocabulary, increase comprehension, increase reading stamina through choice and connection, right? And so, kids develop a connection with literature, with books at this age than more than any other age. Okay, there's a lot of emphasis on that, and so some strategies for you guys. You seeing me glance over to the side because these are my notes. Okay, number 1, book choice autonomy. Book choice autonomy. Offer a range of genres so students can choose books that match their interests. So it was a really fun thing this summer. My kids and I told you we found our favorite library. But the way we found it is that we were like trying out libraries. We were going to different libraries and having fun and going to the children's section and checking out things. And so my daughter committed like what is like the biggest book crime, which is to judge a book by its cover. And so she likes to pick books like that are pink and that have preteens on them, hanging out in groups and whatever. This is her interest. And so it's now more apparent than ever. And so that is a suggestion in order for them to find a book they really like and connect with. Book choice. Give them the autonomy, the freedom and independence to choose their books. Okay? Number 2, connection mapping. Have them link a story, events to their own personal experiences, other books or world events. So I have to tell you something very interesting. When I was in undergrad, I took this elective class. When I was in undergrad, my major was English literature. And I took this elective called children's literature. And something that you find very interesting in children's, like the K-2, we spoke about early elementary, that then shifts when we get to upper elementary are characters, okay? In early elementary, you'll see a lot of characters as non-humans. You'll see a pig, a duck, animals as characters. And what I learned at that time was so that parents could feel comfortable with the neutrality, the racial neutrality, the racial bias, right? And just have animals instead of people. I notice now that I'm looking at more literature, more children's books that are targeted for 3 to 5. I'm noticing now that no longer really are the characters animals. They are people, and they're people. They're people with race and with culture and language. Um, and that shift is made because really at this age, there's an emphasis and a very intentional um decision for that children need to connect, right? They need to connect with the literature, and so you connect with people who look like you, people with similar backgrounds, no longer pigs and horses and chickens. So the being able to pick your own book, having that autonomy, and then the connection mapping is very powerful and very engaging at the same time. Okay. Number three recommendation rather, for grades 3 to 5, empowering potential in your reader is the vocabulary vault. You guys, this 3 to 5, third grade to fifth grade interval, reading and writing go together more than, I mean, like it's really, really unified more than the stage before. And so the vocabulary that they are reading, that they are being exposed to, and that they are consistently acquiring, they will then, with a good understanding of it, be able to utilize it in written expression. Create a word wall, right? Or digital word journal with definitions, synonyms, examples, and sentences. I went to Catholic school at this time for my early elementary, and we had to learn Latin. And so I would just learn so many words because of that. And it was so helpful for me. I understand that that's not the reality for a lot of kids. But what I have to say is that I was exposed to so many words. I was encouraged to do a lot of word studying and diagramming, and that vocabulary vault was like increase exponentially because of the um, the intentionality of the vocabulary vault, right? And this whole concept of learning words, acquiring words, and doing all this. So please capitalize on this time period and on the books that they choose and they really like as an opportunity to increase the vocabulary, play games, think of synonyms, talk about antonyms, and use, right, this novel vocabulary in very interesting ways on a daily basis. I am enjoying this very much. Let's talk about middle schoolers. Let's talk about middle schoolers. I do not have a middle schooler. I've worked with middle school before. It's a very interesting time of life. Um, and I'm happy to speak about empowering potential in reading for your middle schooler. So in this, I mean, this interval right here is the traditional 6 to 8, right? That is middle school, that is junior high. So let's talk about it. The goal is to deepen critical thinking, analysis, and independent reading habits, right? No longer skill building necessarily, but habits, so that reading becomes habitual, something that students are comfortable with, and that they really understand how to embark on for the rest of their lives. And so my first recommendation, Socratic discussions. Facilitate small group discussions where students ask and answer open-ended questions. I have to say, my suggestions for this group really, I think it's very appropriate that we stop here when we talk about empowering potential in reading, because it's the habits, the abilities that you have by middle school. There's nothing, I mean, you're not learning how to read any better. You're not learning how to decode. You're not learning anything. You're just getting better at these things, right? You're just getting deeper. And so small circles, yes, to talk about it. How many adults have book clubs and book groups, right? There's a Rotary. club very close to my house. This stuff is important. Um, and for those of us who um, anticipate a college track for our kids, this is the prerequisite to that. This is the earliest stages of it. It doesn't have to be a big group. And you know what? I'll say that the small group discussions about what we've just read, they help to engage with literature on another level, but then they also really help to strengthen short-term and long-term memory. I'll tell you guys, when I was in grad school and I was working on different things and I was memorizing new concepts, and I mean really concepts, right? I went home and I told my dad about what I learned. I read something and I went and told him about what it was. And then the loop activated and it was able to stick and I was able to remember. So those Socratic circles are very powerful and very important. My next recommendation in empowering potential for your middle school reader is theme tracking. Theme tracking, you guys. So the books at this age are complex, right? It's not just character setting, feelings, emotions, right? There's an entire plot, and there's like an anatomy of the plot, right? There's an opening, and there's a building, right? And then there's a climax, and then all of these things. There's a problem revolution, and sometimes there's two, right? Plots happening at the same time. That then will intersect. So things get complicated. Use graphic organizers to follow themes, character development, and plot arcs over time, right? Even in this level of literature, the story's going in and out of time frames, and so it gets really complex. Comprehension can get lost. And so use graphic organizers. I mean, use them to be able to track and follow along with what's happening. Okay. My third point in this, reading, writing crossover. So I spoke to you before. I mean, the writing is just becoming more and more united throughout these grade groups. So I mean, we could definitely say that there is an overlap, right? By middle school. And so encourage journals, because your kids are going to be they're writing papers, they're writing essays. We've gotten past just, short answer and single paragraphs. It's really becoming more and more extensive. So encourage journals, reviews, or creative writing inspired by what they've read. Right. And so that's been the reading, writing, and the Socratic circles really tie into one another, because the process is I read something, then I talk about it, I'm inspired by my peers. We all bring different perspectives and open up. There's a lot of skills within a Socratic discussion, pragmatically, but at its simplest, I've began to expand my thoughts on whatever it was that I read. I'm going to write about it. And in writing about it, I got even deeper and developed more thoughts about this topic. So it's very powerful. It's very ample, and it's really good. And that's it. That's it, you guys. I have really enjoyed this. Literacy, reading, reading disorders, it's all my jam. I enjoy it very much. And I hope that these have been helpful. If you have any suggestions in any grade group that I didn't mention, please do write it in the chat. Our community is getting bigger, so please do not forget to invite another mom. Do not forget to invite, if you're, there's several professionals in here. Invite a colleague to the group. They don't have to necessarily be a mom, although most of us are. And dads, come on. I love the men. Please invite a dad, invite your husband, a man in your life, invite them, another parent who is a guy, a male. That would be great. I usually, speak on a topic once a month. For July, I did bonus content, so I spoke twice, and then this month I'm doing the same thing, too, right? This month's digital download was grow in patience. You guys, this has just been on my heart, and I've been able to develop in patience. So please download it. Go ahead to Teachers Pay Teachers and get your copy. Grow in patience for your special needs child, right? Because it's not only for you, but for them too. If you have any questions, you need to book a one-on-one, go ahead. For all of you who are enjoying the last drops of summer, continue to enjoy. And for those of you who are back to school, welcome back. Congratulations. I know that we've had several retirees this year in the circles that I run in, and some of them are in this group. So congratulations to you. This will be your first school year that you do not get up and go to work. So congratulations and cheers to that. I hope everybody's doing well. Please reach out to me with any questions, anything. I love the DMs that I get in my box. I hope you like my earrings. Just side note, these reminded me, I have a purse that matches them, kind of reminded me of Miss Frizzle. If you're a millennial mom, you watched the Magic School Bus when you were small. You remember Miss Frizzle? Well, let me tell you, Miss Frizzle grew up and got her doctorate, okay? And now her little sister is teaching on the Magic School Bus. So go check that out. Everybody, mwah, big kisses. I love you. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend whenever you're watching this. Take care, and I will talk to you next time. Join in next week for the bonus content, and take care. Bye.